We get to hear from Sakshat Swamiji. In spite of his whatever conditions, Swamiji always likes to be with us and the students, and always likes to enlighten us, talk on the Shastra. If there is a description of Swamiji, that is teacher, is a guru. That is description. So I am very happy that we have the great occasion to have Swamiji and learn from him. So the time that I have, I thought I will use for looking into something else. That is, I thought of Dakshinamurti Stotra. As you all know by now about me, I go slow. So I am not sure whether I am able to complete this Dakshinamurti Stotram in this spell. If I am not able to complete, then I will continue and then we will do it. Okay? All right. There are various stotras, thousands and thousands of them, stotras we have. And all these stotras have their content, as their content one or more of the 6 listed above. Namaskaras tadashishcha siddhantoktif parakramah vibhutif prarthana cheti shadvidham stotra lakshanam. 6 types of stotra. In one there is only Namaskara is the predominant theme or the only theme. Namaskara, paying our salutations. There are quite a number of stotras falling under this category. Only the predominant theme or the only theme is Namaskara. Then Tad Ashihi cha. Ashihi is the blessing, seeking the blessing of that Lord or the Goddess of Ishvara. Tad Ashihi cha. Then Siddhanta Uktihi. Uktihi describing, talking. The Siddhanta, the truth, the vision, the true nature. That is Siddhanta Uktihi. The fourth one is Parakramaha, valor. The valor of the God form. For example, we have the Durga Sapta Shati. 700. Sapta, 7. Shata is 100. 700 verses about Durga. Even though other elements are also there, but in the Durga Saptashati, predominantly the valor, Parakrama of Durga, Ishvara's Durga is described. It is Parakramaha. Then Vibhutihi, 5th one is Vibhutihi, describing the glories of Ishvara, the Lord form. And 6thly, prayer, Prarthana, asking for what one needs. What one thinks, what one needs. That is Prarthana. It may be for oneself or for others too. Prarthana. Cha iti shad vidam. 6 types of stotra. This is the description of stotra. Stotras may have more than one. For instance, Lalita Sahasranama has all the 6. All the 6 are there in the Lalita Sahasranama. Now we have Dakshinamurti Stotram. It has 10 shlokas, 10 verses. Among the 10, the first 8 talk about the third type, Siddhanta Uktihi, describing the true nature that is presented in the Upanishads. The Upanishads present that Brahmaiva Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Na Aparaha. Jivaha Brahmayeva. Jiva is definitely verily Brahma alone. Brahma is verily Jiva. Jiva is verily Brahma. Jiva is a manifestation of Ishvara or Brahma, not a modification of Ishvara. As we heard from Swamiji in the morning, the Jiva in ignorance takes himself to be insignificant, wanting, right? That's the out of ignorance. But in truth, Jiva is, the truth of Jiva is Ishvara only, which is Brahma only. So, Jivo Brahmaiva na aparaha. It's not, Jiva is not any other entity. This is the Vedanta Dindima. Another prakarana is there, Vedanta Dindima, the drum, the kettle drum. Dindima is a drum. A drum makes a quite an audible sound, okay? So you won't miss the beat of the drum. A minor beat, a small sound instrument, we may not hear the sound, but a drum beat, definitely we would hear. So Vedanta is a Dindima. What Vedanta says is loud and clear, okay? Unless one is deaf, one is totally unavailable, nobody can miss what Vedanta says. Vedanta Dindimaha, that says Sarva Vedanta Dindimaha. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Right? It is Sarva Vedanta Dindimaha. So Jiva is Brahma alone. The truth of Jiva is Param Brahma alone. This is the Siddhanta Uktihi of all the Vedantas. And this is what is called as Jiva Brahma Aikyam, Jiveshvara Aikyam. Oneness of, essential oneness of Jiva and Ishvara or Brahma in truth. This is the Siddhanta Uktihi. Dakshinamurti Stotra predominantly talks about this only in the first 8 shlokas. In the 9th shloka, beginning with Bhurambam Senalo Nilambara, there is a Kalpita description of Dakshinamurti form. Dakshinamurti is presented as the Virat, the whole as the manifest universe. There is a description of Dakshinamurti as the Virat, as the 8-formed, having 8 limbs, Ashtamurti, Vrit, etc. And in the last one, there is the Ashi, he is there, Sarvatma, with his Putikritam, Yasma, etc. in the last 10th shloka. So predominantly Dakshinamurti Stotra is talking about the Siddhanta only. We will be seeing the meaning of the verses and the words in some detail. We will be looking into it. This stotra is written by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Bhashyakara himself. Many stotras and prakarana granthas go under the authorship of Shankaracharya. Many of them we do not know for sure whether it was Adi Shankaracharya who wrote these. We do not know for sure. We don't say that Adi Shankaracharya did not write these. We do not say so. We do not know, that's all. But certain stotras and prakaranas, there are clear proofs as to establish that they were written by Adi Shankaracharya himself. There is one Upadesha Sahasri, a very beautiful compendium text having 2 parts. First part of it is prose, and then the second part of it is in the form of poetry. Upadesha Sahasri. This is considered as a genuine work by Adi Shankaracharya, Bhashyakara himself. Apart from Upanishad Bhashya, Gita Bhashya and Sutra Bhashya, Upadesha Sahasri is considered as a work of Adi Shankaracharya himself. And this also, Dakshinamurti Stotra also is considered written by Adi Shankaracharya. As is usual in our tradition, of learning and teaching, we have commentaries, elaborations of the stotra and the sub-commentaries also we have. We have three, I don't know whether we have more of this, at least three commentaries we have. All the three are available. One is Manasa Ullasa, the revelry. Ullasa is the revelry in the mind. Manasa Ullasa, mind reveling in the truth, in the discovery. Okay, when you discover the truth, when you understand something very great, very important, the mind revels in that. So this is the Manasa Ullasa, said to be written by Vartikakara Sri Sureshwaracharya. And this is the most popular commentary of Dakshinamurti Stotra, most well-known commentary in the book form. And then of course later we have modern teachers, they have elaborated on this in the different languages we have, but in Sanskrita the Sureshwaracharya's Vartikakara's commentary, and that has a sub-commentary which goes by the name of either Dakshinamurti Stotra Vrittanta Vilasini or Manasa Ullasa Vrittanta Vilasini. Let's see, squiggle is there, some appendage is there before. Manasa Ullasa Vrittanta Vilasini by one great Acharya, Ramatirtha. Then we have the second Vivaranam by Anandagiri, and the third Tattva Sudha by Swayam Prakasha Yatihi. There is another Tattva Sudha for the Hastamalakya, it's also called Tattva Sudha, but this is different, a commentary for Dakshinamurti Stotra. I looked into all the three and I have written my notes, what I feel, what I felt as relevant and important. So I will try to build SCC, all that is contained. As I feel as important, we will look into this. I also listened to Swami Paramarthanandaji's explanation of this, very lucid explanation. That also I will bring in. Okay. And in addition to that, my own Kritrima Vyakhyanam also may be there. Okay. So this, even though this text goes by the name Sri Dakshinamurti Stotram, in some places we see this Ashtakam. Okay, Dakshinamurti Ashtakam. We see this name. What does the last one say? Last 10th shloka. Sarvat Vatmiti Sputi Kritamidam Yasmad Amushmin Stave Lepsa. Okay. Even though it's called Ashtakam in some places we see, but it has 10 shlokas. Okay. Of course, among the 10, only 8 talk about the Siddhanta Ukti. Yes. So Dakshinamurti Stotram is a prakarana here. It's not merely a stotra, it is a prakarana. As Swamiji said, no, in the morning, Panchadasi is a prasada grantha. Okay, prasada grantha, a new name I hear. I have been still hearing the name Prakarana only. Now we have another name, Prasada Grantha. Makes the listener prasanna, pleased. Right. Out of the prasada of the Guru, right? The blessing of the Guru, and then for the Shishya, it makes the Shishya prasanna, therefore it's a Prasada Grantha. So Dakshinamurti Stotram also is a Prasada Grantha, okay. Prakarana Grantha. All right. This stotra is composed in a lilting poetry, like a gracefully flowing cascade is there, like one level to another, gracefully, beautifully flowing cascade, like that the words are set in that. One of the most beautiful poetry in Sanskrit literature, Dakshinamurti Stotra. And this is set in a vritti called, a meter, type of meter called Shardula Vikriditam. Just a name for, like we have Anushtup, Trishtup we have. There is a vritti meter called Shardula Vikriditam. Shardula is tiger. Vikriditam is the sporting of a tiger. The tiger's gait, the way the tiger would walk, right? A majestic gait of the tiger, walk of the tiger. Shardula Vikriditam it's called. In that vrittam, in that we have 19 syllables in each quarter. 19 syllables. We can count Vishwamdarpana, we can count 19 will be there. And for the sake of ease of chanting, we halt in between. Vishwamdarpana Drishyamana Nagari, we halt. Tulyam Nijantargatam, make a small break for the sake of breath and also for group chanting. Right? So it has 19 syllables in each. This is a description about this Shardula Vikriditam, Dakshinamurti Stotra in Shardula Vikriditam. Vishwamdarpana Drishyamana Nagari 12, break, and then Tulyam Nijantargatam 7, 12 plus 7. Alright. In this stotra, Sri Dakshinamurti is presented as the Guru. We have 3 words describing the spiritual teacher in Sanskrit. There may be other words also, but 3 prominent words. One is Guru, the other is Acharya, and the third is Deshika. Even though they are basically synonymous, meaning they mean the same basically. Yeah, Guru is called Acharya also, Deshika also. Nevertheless, the words described, they have their own peculiar meanings. Usually, the word Guru is used for mantra upadeshta. Upadeshta is Upadesha Karta. One who does the Upadesha of mantra Upadeshta is the Guru. And in our Vedanta Sampradaya, Mahavakya Upadeshta is the Guru. Mahavakya Upadeshta, the one who teaches Mahavakya, is the Guru. That's the Upadesha of Mahavakya. We are having the Sannyasa Diksha ceremony tomorrow and after a couple of days also. In that ceremony, Swami, the Guru, will formally do the Upadesha to the initiates, to the Sannyasis and Sannyasinis, will do. That is formally doing. Swamiji has been doing to them for years now, thousands of hours now, but formally, ritually, formally will do the Mantra Upadesha, Mahavakya Upadesha. At that time he would do. So, Guru is the Mahavakya Mantra Upadeshta. Then the second word, Acharyaha. The meaning of that word is described in a shloka. Achinotihi shastrartham achare sthapayatyati swayam cha acharate yastu acharyaha iti kirtyate. I may write the shloka later. in the board. Achinoti hi shastra artham. The very teaching, the core, the essence, and also any allied, the methods, the anything that is necessary for understanding the vision, that is shastra artham, and that is gathered. Achinoti, chi to collect. The one who gathers the entire teaching, the meaning of the shastra through one's own study, from one's own guru, and based on one's own effort also. Achinotihi shastrartham. Then first the guru must know, the teacher must know what one has to say, what one teaches, what one says. Here it is not just a belief. Okay? I believe that Atma is Brahman. That won't do. Okay? I believe that Ishvara created everything. I believe that Ishvara is everywhere. The belief will not do, is not enough. Knowledge alone, an intimate understanding alone is the criterion here. Achinoti shastrartham. Then, having gathered, having understood the meaning of shastra, achare stapayati api. Stapayati, establishes. Sta, to stand. Tishtati is one stands. And then stapayati makes the other stand. Stand means take to, live by. Live by what? Achara. A proper living. A life of values. A life of commitment to the truth, to the Shastra and Ishvara. That is the Achara. Achara for us is not only character and conduct, not only that, but also a commitment to Ishvara and the truth, that is Shastra. Achare stapayati. Establishes whom? The Shishyan stapayati. We understand Shishyan stapayati makes the one's own Shishyas stay with the in character, build character, live character, and also live in a commitment to understand and live by the vision, the truth. Then, swayam cha acharate yaha. And what about the acharya? The person also lives the same, right? As they say, walking the talk, okay? Walk the talk, they say. Nowadays we have in the TV we have interviews, walk the talk, okay, something. They interview someone who is learned, experienced, great in a field, and then they have a chat, and then all that is there. So the Acharya is the one who lives, demonstrates. What one teaches, demonstrates by living. Swayam cha acharate yaha tu tam acharyam prachakshate. The person, that great person is called Acharya. So the word Acharya is described in this way, in this shloka. One who knows the truth, one who lives the truth, and one who teaches the truth is the Acharya, the Shastra, that is the Acharya. Then the third word describing a guru preceptor is Deshika. Dishati iti Deshikaha. Dishati, shows. Margam dishati. Sanmargam dishati. The true path. The true way, the true means for accomplishing moksha, paramapurushartha. Dishati, marga darshakaha. So, Deshika is marga darshakaha. Here, the Deshika, even though the word Deshika comes from root dish, okay? Dish means to show. That means, even though the word means marga darshakaha, showing the way, pointing out the way, right? That's why it's because of this word that in some places you may come across this guru is like a signpost, okay? Like a signpost, go left, go right. Trichy this way, Tirupati that way. Okay. So Guru is some places we say Guru is a signpost. Okay. It's not only a signpost, much more than a signpost. Imagine a signpost walking along with us. Okay. Suppose this is the way to Tirupati, okay, Balaji temple, and then the signpost does not stop with it, walks along with us till we reach Tirupati, okay. That is Guru. That is Deshika. Okay. So even though the word Deshika literally means Margadarshaka, but then Deshika does not stop with being just a Margadarshaka. In fact, these are synonymous, all the three words. A Guru is Acharya and Acharya is Deshika as well. Okay. Now these three words we come across in the Stotra itself. We say Deshikendram, Acharyendram, etc. Gurave Namaha, etc. We have the word Deshika we don't have here, but in another verse compiled by Paramathananda Swami, Sri Dakshinamurti Sudeshikendram, Deshikendra, Deshika Indra. Yeah, okay. All right. Here, who is the Guru? Dakshinamurti himself is the Guru. The Guru is equated to Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti is equated to the Guru. And Dakshinamurti is presented, is seen as the Adi Guru. Who is the Adi Guru? Ishvara. Ishvara is the Adi Guru. Okay. All the Vedas talk about the four Purusharthas, Dharmartha Kama Mokshaha, Chatvaraha Purusharthaha. The Vedas talk about Purusharthas, and the Vedas emanate from Ishvara himself. The Veda itself says, Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam Yadetat Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samavedaha, Atharva Vedaha. Of this great being, the infinite being, Mahataha Bhutasya, the great being called Brahma Ishvara, Nishvasitam, like a breath, right? Like the breath of an individual comes effortlessly. A normal breathing person. Okay. A person having breathing problems is not about that. So a normal breath, effortlessly breathing happens. So, like that, effortlessly from Ishvara, the Vedas manifested, all the four Vedas. So, Ishvara is the source of all the Vedas. And who would best describe the meaning of the Vedas? Ishvara himself. And therefore, in order to expound, elaborate, teach the meaning of the Veda, Bhagavan himself assumed the form of Dakshinamurti according to the tradition. Bhagavan himself assumed the form of Dakshinamurti. We say every day Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam. We say every day. Sadashiva is the Guru Parampara, Guru Sishya Parampara starts from Dakshinamurti, Ishvara, Sadashiva. Also we have the other verse, Sri Narayanam. Are you familiar with this verse? Narayanam Padma Bhuvam Vasishtam. There Narayana is Ishvara only. Padma Bhuva is Brahmaji, Chaturmukha. Vyasa, Vasishta, etc. is there. So, the teaching, not only the Vedas come from Ishvara, even the teaching itself comes from Ishvara. And this parampara is avichinna parampara, a continuing flow of vision, the truth. Thanks to this parampara alone, we have this today with us. So this parampara is initiated by Bhagavan himself. Right? So, Dakshinamurti is seen as the first Guru, Adi Guru, the first Guru he is. We have the form of Dakshinamurti, We can see it in most of the temples in South India. You can see the form of Dakshinamurti. And there are certain temples dedicated to or primarily for Dakshinamurti. One such temple we have in Anaikatti Ashram. Their Dakshinamurti is called Medha Dakshinamurti. An exquisite Shila Murti is there, very exquisite form. Kalavasti. There are many temples, many places. There are exclusive shrines are also there in many temples. And even if shrines are not there, in the circumambulation, as you come around the temple shrine, in the facing south direction, you will have the niche. There will be a niche in the wall. Dakshinamurti will be there. Okay. All right. So Dakshinamurti usually faces the south. Even here, we have the picture. This is north, and Dakshinamurti is facing south. Almost. May not be exact north, but it is north. Okay. So the word itself describes that. Dakshina Murti. The word Dakshina comes from Dakshina Dik, okay, the southern direction. And the word Dakshina also, there is a word, indeclinable word, Dakshina also is there. So south facing, the Lord sitting in a south facing posture. Dakshina Murti, yes, the Murti, the form is south facing, the Dakshina Murti. Why this south facing? Here, among the four directions, south is considered as the Yama Dik, Kala Dik. Yama is the Kala, the counter, right? The clock, ticking clock. Mr. Devadatta, Mr. Yajnadatta is born, okay? The moment Yajnadatta is born, then the time clock starts ticking, tick, tick. Kala, Yama it is. The portion time in keeping with one's own karma phala, that is prarabdha, and in keeping with one's own, the individual's karma that one does in this janma, the time clock one keeps, and also marking the karma and karma phalam, that is the Yama. Yama himself is a great teacher, as we see in the Kathopanishad. So, Yamadik, southern direction is normally traditionally referred to as the Yamadik. Yama stands for Mrityu. Mrityu means Nasha, an end, coming to an end. This jiva comes to an end, this birth comes to an end at one point of time. Right? As they say, death comes only once, okay, in this janma. But then, during the lifetime, this fellow, in ignorance, in confusion, lives in smallness. Suppose the fellow lives in smallness, isolation, fear, etc. Then it is figuratively the person keeps on dying. Okay? Keeps on dying. Whenever there is fear, there is death, like death. Whenever there is smallness, it is like death. Okay. Like for a noble person, apakirti, right, slandery, is like death, unto death. Okay. Right? So, for this jiva who is in ignorance, smallness, suffering, sadness, sorrow, individuality, then incompleteness, wanting, these are all figuratively like death. And therefore, this jiva who takes oneself to be samsari in ignorance is constantly dying. Right? The physical death, the death of the physical body comes once, but then during lifetime this fellow lives in smallness, occasionally is free from smallness, right? In spite of himself, okay? Not because of himself. In spite of himself, the fellow is happy. Okay. But then again only to come back to the a notion of sufferer, samsara. So this is likened to death. That's why in the Kathopanishad it is said, Mrityoho saha mrityumapnoti yaha iha nanaiva pashyati. The one who thinks that the perceptible duality, plurality is the truth of everything, and the plurality is absolute, therefore I am small, and I am insignificant, I am wanting, I am incomplete. That person goes not from life to life, but from death to death. Mrityoho, from mrityu to mrityu. One leave to take to another mrityu, it is said. So samsara is the mrityu also. From the standpoint of one sharira, this sharira, the death of the physical body is mrityu. But from the standpoint of ignorance of the jiva, the samsari, then the whole life becomes one of continuing or one after another, a sequence of figurative death. Till the person discovers one's true nature, the person is in the hands of death. So that is the mrityu-dik. Now, in spite of undergoing suffering, sadness, smallness, the fellow wants to be free from all these, right? Wants to be free, wants to be happy, wants to be full. So, the fellow now seems to travel towards the southerly direction spiritually. Now, but the fellow really wants to reverse the trend, reverse it. Do a roundabout. Okay? Then he starts walking towards the north. So the north is seen as the Amrita Dik, the direction of immortality. And who is there in the direction of immortality? Bhagavan is there. I turn my face away from Bhagavan, there is Mrityu. I turn myself facing Bhagavan, I face Amrita, immortality, moksha, and my journey is towards Amrita. So that's why Dakshinamurti is facing south. Those who are in Mrityu, may them turn around and walk towards Amrita. How do I gain Amrita? By walking towards Amrita. Who is this Amrita? Dakshinamurti. Therefore, south facing Dakshinamurti. Okay. We'll stop here. We'll continue this. I need more time. I need more of your time. It's usually the children who demand time from their mother, but here it is the mother who demands time from the children. So we will have morning tomorrow morning 6:30 also, and this time also we will have. Okay? Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.